my next guest, writing about the matter on FoxNews.com this morning. Quote, Russia hoax, Obama team's shocking abuse of power. Here's what we know so far. So let's find out what we know. Joining me now is KT McFarland, former Deputy National Security Advisor under President Trump. Good morning, KT.
Good morning, Ed.
First of all, the significance, before we get to your piece at FoxNews.com, of John Bash, this U.S. attorney outside the Beltway, being brought in to look at unmasking.
You know, I think there are 3 points, and you've just mentioned the first one. The Attorney General, he's chosen now 3 U.S. attorneys to investigate the investigators. He chose Durham, who was from Connecticut. He chose Jensen to look at the Flynn situation. He's from Missouri. And now Bash to look at the unmaskings. What does that tell you? That the Attorney General, he doesn't have a whole lot of confidence in his Department of Justice in Washington, D.C. to do the right thing. I think the second thing that's significant is with the unmaskings, which I always thought was a little weird, that the people whose names were on the unmasking requests, some of them said they didn't know anything about it, that it wasn't them. Now, unmasking has to be done by the person who needs to know, and it can't be done for a frivolous reason. It can't be done just because you're curious about it. And then the third thing that I'm really looking for is in the unmaskings, was that fateful December 29th phone call when General Flynn talked to the Russian ambassador. Was that unmasked? If not, why not? We know it was recorded. We know there's a transcript of it. And if it wasn't unmasked by the NSA, who did the recording? The CIA, the FBI? A lot of unanswered questions that I hope we'll find the answer to soon.
And on one of the points you just made about why did various people in the Obama administration seek to unmask, are we ever going to find out the context? Do you have to give a specific reason? You can't just go fishing, right? Or one would presume you're not supposed to go fishing. And you're supposed to say, I need to know the name of who's on that intelligence report because of this reason. Are we going to find that out?
Well, maybe you and I aren't going to find it out, but certainly the Justice Department and John Bash are going to find it out. Why? Because I would assume his first action is to call those, what were they, 50 people, in and say, why did you request this unmasking? What was your need to know? And what did you think it was going to give you? What information was it going to give you? And if those people, like Samantha Power, like Susan Rice, like James Clapper, if they don't have very good answers for why their names were put on those forms, that should tell you an awful lot more about what was going on in the highest levels of the intelligence community and the Obama administration in their efforts to pursue what I think was a sham from the very beginning, the Russia hoax.
You've listed a whole bunch of people like Susan Rice who are likely people that Lindsey Graham, as chair of the Senate Judiciary Committee, wants to talk to into the fall as he starts these hearings. Here's a statement from him. He also is going to bring in Rod Rosenstein from the Justice Department. He will testify about the new revelations contained in the Horowitz report concerning the FISA warrant applications and other matters. This will be the first in a series of oversight hearings, Graham says, regarding all things Crossfire Hurricane and the Mueller investigation. And to bring it to your piece at FoxNews.com that I mentioned, you say that the president calling this a hoax all along is going to be proven by these hearings and by the documents that are coming out.
Yeah, I mean, if you look just in the last 2 weeks of the documents that have come out of the House Intelligence Committee, transcripts of what people at the top of the intelligence community, Clapper, Comey, Brennan, what they were saying behind closed doors to Congress in classified hearings, that there was no hoax, there was no collusion, there was nothing between the Trump campaign and the Russians, and yet they were running out to the cameras and telling the American people, oh, you know, President Trump was only elected because the Russians threw the election to him, or President Trump is a Russian asset. I mean, they were saying one thing behind closed doors and another thing to the American public. They knew from the beginning, as these documents are shown, and the more documents that are coming out in the next week or two, they knew from the beginning there was nothing there, from the very beginning, and even before the Mueller investigation, and yet they pursued it. They used it as a tool to try to stop President Trump. Now
with John Bash, John Durham, various U.S. attorneys involved, there might actually be prosecutions as well. We're going to be watching it. KT McFarland, thanks for coming in.